Yo, this is JusticeSoulTuna, and welcome to another Voice of the World. Even though I'm pretty sure no one really checked out the first one, I'm just going to continue with this series because I feel like, me personally, something I want to do, and we're going to move on. Today's idea slash comment is to do with the all too famous now in the FGC, the fighting game community, the concept of 09ers, and or I don't know, maybe you could call it 09ers. Really, I just call it 09ers just because the way it kind of looks to me. And an 09er is basically somebody who it's to do with vanilla Street Fighter 4, as in the original Street Fighter 4 on Xbox 360 and PS3, which came out in 2009. And calling someone an 09er is, well, more or less a derogatory term for people who derogatory term for people who basically only think along the lines of Street Fighter 4. Like, that's the only game they like. They don't like any other game. They don't care about anything else. And they pretty much have this idea that if a game doesn't have FADC into Ultra, then it's a bad game, pretty much. And that's the mindset of 09ers, if you will. And yeah, so basically, there's a lot of concepts, ideas floating around of what an 09er is and how to classify one. It's more of a sort of a running joke in the FGC, but it is a genuine insult used by quite a few people. But in general, I'd say, and in fact, the way I use it personally, I mean, I don't like saying dirty terms because I feel like stuff can get very personal when people start doing that, but personally, the idea of 09ers to me just applies to people who, well, yeah, joined the fighting game scene in '09 through Street Fighter 4 and just don't understand anything about other fighting games and don't appreciate or respect other fighting games because of it. But this particular comment, who came from a stream monster, in fact, was quite long, and I just had to copy paste it just to see what it said, and I'm going to read it out for you now. And here we go. It says, by the way, prepare for some colorful language. I may or may not try to censor some of it, but for as far as I can try, I'll read out what's there. Try to keep this a little more on the light side, but we'll see. Okay. 09ers aren't bad in and of themselves. It is the fact that they have this silly idea that they have some knowledge in how fighters should be, when all they are really doing is finding justification for the suckiness of the game and using it to deem a game bad. Instead of like the old days, when people would sit and grind that shit before even passing real judgment on it. I mean, for Pete's sake, some of you dumbass 09ers judge a game based on how entertaining it is to watch. WTF. It's a freaking game, not a damn movie, you dumb, It's a game to be played. You dumb freaking 09ers taking on the role as spectators. Dumbass, I'm just gonna say it, dumbass. You're worth shit, and you have no right to even speak of any fighting game's merits if all you do is sit on your freaking keister online playing these games and watching them on streams. Like, WTF. You pathetic 09ers, and actually, and this is where it gets a bit weird in the text, actually, to be honest with you. You pathetic 09ers, and actually be a real player. Well, actually, I think I'll have to read the whole line just to make sense. I think it's more like chill the fuck out, you pathetic 09ers, and actually be a real player, and not some deluded stream monster that thinks their loud ass opinions mean anything to anybody. So if you even caught all of that in the mess of reading that nonsense, basically, he's basically saying that too many 09ers complain about stuff. They don't understand how fighting games work. They basically want everything to be a certain way just because they play Street Fighter 4. They think that if a fighting game isn't exactly like that, then they think it's a bad fighting game. And yeah, in some ways I definitely do agree, because too many people, I mean, I guess you could call them 09ers, believe in some sort of Valhalla that fighting games have to be this one particular way. In fact, this is to do with the notion of a scrub that I mentioned before, where they impose all these rules on a game that don't exist, but a game is a game. I mean, it's true. Think of how many fighting games there are, and I don't even mean the main series. I don't mean, Dead or Alive, Tekken, Soul Calibur, Street Fighter, Marvel, BlazBlue. I mean, well, BlazBlue, Guilty Gear even. I mean, think of the crazy, outlandish, random fighting games you've heard of in your life. I can't even begin to name some of them. Bushido Blade, what was it, Tobal number 1, if I'm correct? Recently, the Arcana Heart series, and it's just some more obscure ones that a lot of people just don't know about. These are all fighting games, and of course, let's not forget Smash. I mean, and the debate surrounding that. Fighting games are a lot of things, and you can't really cop it down to one thing. And I think, in general, too many people lose sight of, you know, just reality because they're too far biased in their own opinion, since they think that if this is how I like my fighting games. If a fighting game isn't like this, then it's not good, or it isn't a fighting game, or whatever. But to leave on just a sense of common note, at the end of the day, a fighting game is a fighting game because it was designed as so, not because an 09er thinks it isn't. Okay? A fighting game is what it is, and people will like it. Just because you don't like it because you like Street Fighter 4 or whatever, doesn't mean it's not a fighting game, okay? Think about it.